Good. All right. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, so Narad Bhakti Sutra. So let's do the prayers first. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhurbhava Swaha Tatsavitravarenayam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Asto Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya Mrityorma Amritam Gamya Om Sahnavavatu Sahnau Bhunatu Sahviryam Karvavahi तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्वेषावहि ओम शांति 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 ओम. So Narad Bhakti Sutra. I told you last time that verses 34 to 37 we learned how to develop this divine love for God. Now we are in the part where we are learning that what is the magic of Satsang. We often hear this word Satsang. We are going to Satsang. There should be a weekly Satsang. So, magic of Satsang. Verses 38 to 42, sorry, 38 to 42. Then in the next section, he's going to warn us about the Dusang. So, danger of Dusang, the bad company. Okay, 43 to 45. So this section started with where we ended our last week's class. And over there he said, Muktya tu mahad kripya eva, Bhagavad kripa leshatva. So pure devotion, the devotion divine is gained through the grace of great souls. So that means we have to have a company of the great people, great soul. And through a little of the divine grace, God's grace also. So when we feel the company of God also, God is sitting near us. So that's why I always tell you, when you do your daily prayers, your arti morning and evening, just remember God is there. It's not just a picture. It's not just a painting. It's not just a form made out of some kind of a metal or stone. So God is there. Okay? So divine grace bestows on us. So now let's look at how he proceeds with this magic of satsang. Number 39. Mahad sangaha tu durlabha agamyaha amogha cha. Mahad sangha. That means to come in contact with a great soul. Tu means indeed durlabha, extremely difficult to get. Agamya, impossible to know. Amogha, infallible. Cha means yet. To come in contact with a great soul is indeed extremely difficult. It is impossible to know them fully, yet it is infallible in its effect. Because truly great souls are indeed at any given period of history very rare. It's not only in Kali Yuga alone, any period in history. So that's why it's not always possible for all people to come into contact with such perfect masters. That's why we often say, where are we going to find a guru like that? And even when we come in contact with them, it is extremely difficult to recognize their greatness and to tune ourselves fully to them, because they don't advertise that we are the great souls. It's very hard to recognize them. That's why many of the masters, they have been crushed, whipped, crucified, destroyed by the foolish people around them. This is history is full of that. So that's why this sutra says that even though such perfect teachers are rare, even when we meet them, it's difficult for us even to recognize them. But then he puts at the end, and yet, in case we meet and recognize a master and learn to diligently come under his influences, they are unerringly infallible. So there's always some kind of effect. Our intellect says, sure, I have better degrees, I look better, I am wearing better clothes, I live in a better house, but still inside we know that this great soul has something different, something I'm looking for. And that's what he's saying over here. The more we search, the more we are apt to come under the influence of a false one sometimes. Because initially, we are just judging them. So that's why this great Rishi is telling us constantly pay attention. Keep a deep and consistent inner demand for a teacher, for a guru. That's why we got to do our own sadhana. An honest life of a sadhak, the teacher will appear. We cannot find a teacher. Teacher will appear. That's why I say, when a student is ready, teacher appears. Because the teacher, that kind of a teacher, guru, is none other than God, Narayan. This is the only way to gain a teacher. So when the right type of a student who is fit for the knowledge meets a true teacher, the transformation takes place. Okay. So otherwise, with our own intellect, with our own effort, it's hard to find a true saint. Okay. Guru is someone who has surrendered to God. That's a true guru. Because guru has no personal motive. Guru is somebody who has dedicated himself to Lord. Because when somebody has dedicated to Lord, that person becomes a non-doer. And God starts doing through that soul. It's almost like that person is sleeping in the lap of God, and God takes over. That person becomes the instrument and God becomes the doer. That is a guru. God realized saints are working by the inspiration of God. That's why Tulsidas ji, what did he say? When others said that you have written a great Ramayana, he said, na main kiya na kar sakun, sahab karta more. My sahab is doing it. He says, I cannot do it and I have not done anything. Karat karawat aap hai, tulsi tulsi shor. That's what my Guruji used to say. He wrote that Mahadivya Ramayana. 11 volumes of it. You keep on reading it, keep on reciting it, it never finishes. And he says, I did not write it. Very openly he used to say. He says, when somebody is singing, I enjoy it. He said, if I would have written it, how can I enjoy it? I don't have any ownership of it. So na मैं किया न कर सकूं साहब करता मोर करत करावत आप हैं तुलसी तुलसी शोर. Bible says the holy men of God spoke as they were moved by the Holy Ghosts. This is what a holiness is. So Guru surrenders to God. God acts through Guru. So we look at the Guru as the manifestation of God. So that's why our material intellect cannot recognize a Guru. We got to have a surrendered intellect. If you keep a material intellect and look at his body, you won't be able to do your sadhana. You can always find flaws in a body. Because you will start analyzing. Whatever my Guru is saying, it's 50% correct or it's 40% correct. But when you surrender, you say, these are the words of my Guru. These are the words of God. Faith requires divine sentiment. Faith. You all know the Buddha's life story. He had a in fact, closest disciple. His name was Anand. He had many disciples, but some of them are predominant, and the most predominant was Anand. He was his cousin brother. He came to Buddha and he said, I have 3 conditions, only then I will become your disciple. He said, my first condition is you will always keep me with you. The second one, if I ask you to meet someone, you will have to meet him. Never ever say that you don't have time. And the third one, I will do whatever seva I like. Buddha said, all right. I agree with all your conditions. And next day, Anand became Buddha's disciple. Stayed with him for 40 years. That long of a time. Anand traveled with him. One day, Anand asked Buddha, how come other disciples have advanced? And I am where I was 40 years ago. Buddha said, because you decided to stay as a cousin. You never made the divine sentiments. So when we have a divine sentiment, only then we can surrender completely. If you put conditions, that's not a disciple. Okay, in Bhagavad Puran, they say, if you keep a material sentiment towards Guru, then your sadhana will be like an elephant. Just like elephant, after taking the bath, it goes back into the mud. You do the sadhana, then you get up and you still have the material sentiment. There's no progress. Marteha saddhi shuddhi tasya sarvam kunjar shochvat. Kunjar is an elephant. We got to remember what we learned in Ishavasya Upanishad. That great teacher said, Ishavasyam idgam sarvam. So God is everywhere, then why can't we see God at least in a Guru? We study Upanishads like that, but we got to just with the help of these Upanishads, we have to create that kind of a divine sentiments also. If you have found a guru, you are one step away from finding God. That's what the scriptures say. Because to find a guru is difficult. And he will tell us how to find a guru also later on. It's not easy to find a guru. God is working through that person, and that person is doing Jiva Kalyan. If you find somebody like that, that is a God working through that person. Because saints and the gurus, they do act like us, they look like us, they eat like us. But they have that power to get us out of that worldly jail. There have been many, many saints throughout the history who have been inspired by God work in different ways. Okay, so difficult to find, not impossible to find. So we got to continue increasing our faith or changing our faith towards the divine faith. And remember, just like I said earlier, gods and saints, their objective is always the welfare of others. Lord Krishna came, Lord Ram came, any guru comes, Satguru comes, it's only for the welfare of others. We really cannot understand all their activities. Okay, we cannot, because our intellect is not there yet. So through the external actions of saints, we cannot understand them. How to recognize them? It's given in the next verse. Labhyate api tat kripyaha ev. Labhyate is attained or obtained. Api, nevertheless. Tat kripya, by the grace of him. Ev means only. Nevertheless, by the grace of God alone, great souls are attained. So they are durlabh, but they are not non-existent. So by God's grace, we can have a guru. So though the cultivation of devotion in the human heart is very difficult, but continuous effort helps us. Continuous. And the consequence of that continuous sadhana is God shows us that path. God brings that kind of a guru in front of us. So, labhyate api. That means we can obtain it. It is attained. Kathopanishad says this in a very thundering voice. He says, Yam esha vrinute ten labhya. This labhya word over there too. Says, he who chooses him, to him alone he reveals. So when we choose God, when we say that God, I just want to see you only, then you obtain the Guru also. So that hunger has to be there. Hunger. Vivek Chudamani, Adi Shankaracharya ji says that manliness, aspiration for spiritual unfoldment, and loving protection of a wise man are only caused by the blessings of the Lord. Okay, it's like a blessing of the Lord. It's a divine power that makes the aspirant restless. When you have that kind of a chatpatahat that, hey, I want to see God, I want to attain Godhood, that's a blessing. Instead of chatpatahat for the worldly things, it's a chatpatahat for the longing for the divinity, the search of a guru. It is the same divine power that makes the saint Okay, when the time is ripe, the Lord, in a very mysterious way actually. First it's a communication, and ultimately it's a communion. Because when we meet a guru, what do? There's a communication first. Guru teaches us with the help of the words. Guru tells us do this sadhana and we start doing it with a full faith. Then of course there's a communion. But first the communication has to be there. So that's what Narada is saying, that you will find the saint with the grace of God. God is seated in your heart and he knows your desire. He knows desire is always over there inside. If you make a sincere desire to seek him, he will help you. God knows whether we are sincere or not. Sometimes we may not even know that how sincere we are, but God knows. So make your yearning strong. Cry for that. Oh Lord, I wish to meet you, but I have no means. I have no knowledge, no strength. Please lead me to a teacher who can help me to meet you. When God detects this sincere desire in a person, he arranges for that soul to meet a true Guru. In fact, God is the one who, after that, solidifies that kind of a faith also. You feel that strong feeling that this is a teacher I was looking for. And when that inspiration comes in a very strong way, you can tell that it's not an ordinary inspiration. It has developed only with the grace of God. They say it's a call of God. So often said that call of God is the strongest call in life. Call of God. You can feel that strong faith towards the Guru. But our desire should be sincere. That sincerity we have to cultivate. Because often we are looking for a Guru also, or we do the puja part also for worldly gain. We got to be clear about that. Because people do a lot of jap, tap just to solve their worldly problems. This relationship between a disciple and a guru is not for the worldly gain. So our desire must be very, very clear. God alone, selfless love. You will see God's help coming. Doesn't take that long. That's why it said, Jo tu dhave ek pag, so main dhavu saat pag. So you take one step, God will take seven. Okay, so many more. Some people even say that's sat pag, like a 60. So it doesn't matter. It's just like we go little bit, God comes towards us many different ways. Number 41. Tasmin tat jane bheda bhavat. Tasmin means in him. In him means God. Tat jane, in his devotees. Bhed abhavat, because there's no difference. Because between God and his devotees, there's no sense of difference. This can mean that the true devotee of the Lord and the saint or the guru is God himself. That's why we say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara. There's no difference between God and the guru. Because guru has reached to that level where Brahma with Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of the Brahma becomes Brahma. Okay, because in the Lord and in his true devotees, there's no sense of distinction. To him, all are but the one single divine glory, expressing itself through different equipments. That's why in the Vedas it said that one infinite truth plays as the world of objects. So So all these three words, tasmin, tat jane, bhed abhavat. So is this kind of a sutra very directly assuring us that to the Lord, there is no sense of difference. But also between one devotee and the another. So then there's no competition between the devotees either. That is a better devotee or a worse devotee. If you're a devotee, if you love God, see, that's why all those gopis, they were all dear to God. And to Lord Krishna, they were all equally dear. No difference. Okay, no competition, no struggle there. Because the moment he decides to turn towards the self, the real, he come to peace, tranquility, and joy. Because whenever there's a struggle, whenever there's a friction, whenever there's a me and mine only, then there's a non-peace. So true devotee is always peaceful. Okay? So oneness with the Supreme. Therefore, the grace of a real Guru is the grace of a Lord Himself. That's another way we can look at it. There's no difference between a Guru and a God. Now in verse number 42, Tat ev sadhyatam, tat ev sadhyatam. Tat means that. That means ultimate goal, the God. That's that. When we say tat tvam asi, that tat. Ev means alone. Sadhyatam is to be accomplished. Tat ev sadhyatam. That alone be accomplished. So just to emphasize this, he is repeating it over here. That alone is to be accomplished. That alone should be accomplished. So developing bhakti, which was described in verse 35, 36, 37. That's what he's saying over here. Fully, diligently, we need to pursue and entirely accomplish in this lifetime alone. So it's like he's insisting that emphatically, advice Narada is giving us for the benefit of all of us, his students. So the devotee must try to spend his time in accomplishing such mental and physical changes in his ways of thinking, acting, so that he can open his heart towards the true love for God, true devotion. Then we will definitely have the grace also. Because what is really, in those verses also, he has mentioned the ego too. We got to dissolve the ego. Because ego is the one which is standing in between us. Between us and a guru also, between us and a God also. Ego doesn't let us experience that divinity, our own ego. So when the ego is surrendered, the supreme consciousness explodes into awareness actually. And all the sense of limitations experienced earlier by the seeker is lifted up. They are just gone away from the mind in one great heave. It's not just a little by little. Okay, right away, it just blows away. So that's why Guru keeps on guiding us. In order to reach to this level, there has to be sincerity towards the Lord. During our regular prayers, there has to be a habitual loving service in us. So people around us, serve them. Wherever you go, you are serving. At home, to the family, you are serving. So service should be the main thing in our mind. Seva. And then regular prayers. They go hand in hand. Prayers, we are talking to God. We are keeping a communication with God. And seva, wherever we go, we are helping others. Not because of our ego, because of the oneness. They're part of me. And this is my duty. Then together, it just give us the communion then. It doesn't stay only at the communication level. And it doesn't take that long. Once we do it sincerely, it doesn't take that long. That's why Lord Krishna in chapter 9, verse number 31, he assures us over there. He says, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Kshipram means soon. Doesn't take that long. Shashvat shantim nigachati. The shanti. Where is the shanti? The peace is coming from. That is from the communion. Nowhere else there's a shanti. Shanti is only in God. And we have to have a relationship with God, communion with God. Kaunte prati janehi na me bhagta par nashyati. So this kind of a bhagat, this kind of a devotee will never come to ruin. It will never be destroyed. This is what Lord Krishna is declaring. This is what Narada is saying. So that's why we got to do our part. Continuous dedication in all our actions. And God remembrance in the mind are to be achieved. That's what he has been telling us so far. Remember, the sutra is a link. It's a thread. So continuation. So we cannot forget what he taught us earlier. We cannot say that only this verse. No, this verse is connected with all the verses we learned before. So God remembrance in the mind are to be achieved. These are easy when we have continuous and unbroken companionship with the wise and the good, either directly with a true teacher. If you are lucky enough to have a true teacher, a guru of this caliber, then directly with a true teacher. But if we don't have it, we haven't reached there yet, we have not found it, definitely have a yearning for it, but indirectly through the sacred books and the scriptures. That is also a companionship of the satsang. Good people, holy people. We got to keep that in mind. I mean, again, I have said many times to you, even God incarnate, when they come, they have this yearning to have a guru. You all know that Lord Krishna's guru. You should know the name also, Lord Krishna's guru. Sandeepani Muni. He went into Sandeepani Muni's ashram. That's where he met Sudama. First time. So Guru. Then towards the end, he gave a Guru Dakshina. He brought back Guru's son, which was taken first by the ocean, and then he just went all the way. I mean, he did a lot of struggle to bring Muni's, his Guru's son back. Guru did not ask for it, but Guru Mata did. He saw that. They had only one son and he brought it back. And we saw Shri Ram also went to Guru. And there were always Gurus in that Sabha also. Guru. So you have to get the knowledge from the Guru. Some people think that all we need to have a mantra from the Guru, and Guru gonna give us a mantra in the ear, and then we just should not share that mantra, and that mantra is going to take us. No. The real Guru gives us a sadhana. With the help of the mantra, sure, because that connects us. We have a faith in that mantra, but sadhana we have to do. Just taking the mantra alone is not enough. So We got to clean our heart. God understands the language of our pure heart. Okay? Lord cares about the sentiment, love, emotion, surrender, all of that. Whether you say Ram Ram or Mara Mara, if the heart is clean, you are connected. There's no rules to these names of God. God realization does not take place with any mantra, tantra, or yantra. Okay? So if you think that God realization is taking place with some mantra and we keep on changing the mantra, tantra, and yantra, we will not get anywhere. God realization requires a complete purification of the heart. That's what we need. So if your mantra is purifying your heart, good. If some kind of a yantra is purifying your heart, fine. But if they are not purifying your heart, all you are doing is just repeating it. It's a waste of time. Lord Krishna said, surrender requires Mam ekam sharnam vraj. And if mantra and tantra is helping you, then sure use that. But if they are hindering you, throw them out. So relationship with the Guru is not through mantra. It's an internal relationship. And we receive knowledge from the Guru. And on the basis of that knowledge, we do sadhana. Through the sadhana, we clean our heart. That's what's important. Are my actions more pure? If I think that I am at the feet of the Guru or connected with my Guru and evolving myself, are my actions more pure from my previous actions? Is my mind more calm? Am I more giving and forgiving? We got to look at it. Is my ego down? Do I do my sadhana the way my Guru tells me? Those are the things we got to keep in mind. So through the sadhana, we cleanse our heart. That is what's important. Okay, so it is very important is the instructions of the Guru. Vedic literature, everywhere they emphasize that you learn to surrender the intellect. There is another story I have been telling you, and but through the stories, you can really remember the lessons also. We know that Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya ji, I'm talking about, he had 4 famous disciples. Tratokacharya, Hastamalak, Sureshwaracharya, and Padampad. 4. Padampad's name was Sanand before. Padampad name came later on. The other 3, they were intellectually wise. So they just, they knew the scriptures. They were worldly smart also. But this Sanand, he will just watch when Shankaracharya will teach, he will just watch, just keep looking at like this to the Guru. Without any emotions, without any feelings. So the other students, they thought that, hey, he's dumb. He doesn't understand anything. He never asks any question. But he had a full faith in Shankaracharya. One day, Sanand was gone on the other side of the river to wash Guruji's clothes. Meanwhile, it was time for the class. And he is still over there on the other side. Other students, they said, Shankaracharya ji, Guruji, you teach us. He never understands anything anyway. Why wait for him to come and delay the class? He said, no, he's not here. We cannot start. Shankaracharya ji loudly, he just called for him. And he heard his name. My guru is calling. He just started walking on the water. Wherever he put his foot, there was a lotus leaf. Kamal, that's why his name became a Kamal Pad. He just hopped on the water, on the lotus leaf, and fell at the feet of Guru. They say he just went into that highest state of samadhi. When he got out of it, that samadhi, he touched his Guru's feet, and from his mouth, the beautiful Sanskrit stutis came out. All that knowledge is inside us. The faith is the one, his faith in Guru's words. I'm doing Guru Seva, and then Guru is calling, I better go back right away. And this faith took him to that level where all those Vedas, those stutis came out. So with the grace of the Guru, he got that knowledge. That's what happens. Mukam karoti vachalam. We sing that, right? Mukam karoti. Person who cannot speak can start speaking with Guru's grace. Pangum langyate. You can climb the mountains without the feet also, without the legs also. That's a Guru's grace. So when we surrender though, when we surrender our ego, only then we receive this. As long as we have an ego, we are keeping a barrier between us and that grace. We saw that in Bhagavad Gita also. In the beginning, Arjun did say that you are my Guru. But still he kept saying that I'm not going to fight. Lord Krishna said, fight. He said, I'm not going to fight. He said, these are my relatives. How can I fight with them? Then Lord Krishna kept giving him knowledge. And at the end, what did Arjun say? I will do as you say. And we know what happened. We surrender. We know how to surrender actually. When we are sitting in a plane, don't we surrender? We don't even know that pilot, but we surrender. When we go to a doctor, don't we surrender? We don't know all the medicines. Doctor says, take this. We say, okay. We surrender when we go to a restaurant. We don't know what they cooked, what they put in there. Comes in front of us. We enjoy it. We know how to surrender. Nobody has to teach us how to surrender. But when it comes to a guru, somehow, we don't surrender. Narada is saying, this is what we need to do, surrender. And surrender and faith, they go hand in hand. If somebody says, I have a faith, but I cannot surrender. No, there's no faith. And as you surrender, faith goes up. Nobody starts with 100% faith or 100% surrender. So surrender enhances the faith and faith enhances the strength. Keeps on growing. So that's why Narada ji is telling us to do sadhana under the guidance of a guru. And if you don't do it, what will happen? There's a plenty of dusang also in this world. Because Satsang is the company of your guru. Dusang is the company of the material world. And from next verse on, 43, 44, 45, he is warning us about the dusang. It could be a material company. It could be a bad company, corrupt company. It could be a little bit bad, but it is a worldly company. He says, be careful about that. Your progress is going to happen only with the satsang. Okay, so 43 is dusangaha sarvatha tyajya ev. Sarvatha, by all means, don't take it carelessly. Be very, very careful. So we'll talk about this next week. Okay, so today it was all about the satsang, a guru sang, and God's. So God helps through the guru. This is what it really means. Boils down to that. Okay, let me do the Shanti part, and then we will have some conversation also, question answers. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaye Purnameva Visheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om.